And the name comes from an extinct language, the Kunzal language, which was last spoken in 1949. Its name means skeleton. Just, this is a skeleton. So that's kind of cool. The animal, though, dates back to the Campanian of Chile. So we're talking about 80 million years ago, and this is the most complete known Chilean sauropod. So still not much, sorry. That is enough, though, to tell us that this guy was a sister taxon, at least so far, to Isosaurus. Now, if you've never heard of Isosaurus, picture a sauropod with kind of a profile like a gorilla. Really unusual looking animal, kind of a shorter sort of a neck. There's not enough of this guy for us to really tell whether it had that kind of odd sort of profile. Since so much of the skeleton is white, that indicates we don't really know too much about it. Now this guy is small because it's juvenile. So it probably could have gotten a lot bigger, we're just not sure how much bigger. And given that it's got longer thigh bones and the shorter humerus, it probably didn't have that gorilla sort of profile that Isosaurus had, but they'd still be part of the same family tree. So I really like to talk about the weirdness of the Noasaurids. These are, remember, the Ceratosaur group. They are cousins to guys like Carnotaurus and like Myodosaurus, which are both Belosaurs. This one appears to be somewhat of a relative of an unusual dinosaur called Dinosaur. And one of the reasons for that is that it does not have teeth. It's only got a beak. So contrast that with Ceratosaurus, which you can see has unusually large teeth for a medium dinosaur size, and that's kind of the contrast that you see, especially when you get into the Noasaur family. Something about the Ceratosaurs, especially when you get to the Noasaurs, they just get weird, almost like for weirdness sake. Now this is a juvenile animal, so the fact that it doesn't have teeth makes it significantly different from Dinosaurus, because Dinosaurus starts out with very Ceratosaurus looking teeth, which it loses, which it lost as it grew up. This one started with them lost. Look at that huge hole there. So some really interesting things going on with this skull. Got a fairly good skeleton from it, and it suggests a small dinosaur built for speed. So some of the Dinosaurs, they appear to have been a lot like the Ceratosaurian equivalent of the Ornithomimosaurs, and you can kind of think of them like prototypes of that, at least for now. We've got to find more to learn a lot more about them. Brothosaura is from the the late Cretaceous of Brazil, or rather, it could be early Cretaceous. We're not entirely sure because this is like the only dinosaur found in the formation so far as I know. And there are only a few other things, so it's largely unexplored, and therefore the dating of that formation is not quite resolved yet. So hopefully this will help spur some exploration on it. We can figure that out. It was named for Bertha was a scientist down in Brazil, so that's where the name comes from. Here we have Brysonius. That would be the diagram up at the top. But Brysonius is cool. It's from the early Cretaceous of the Isle of Wight, which is one of the better places to find dinosaurs in Great Britain. And I kind of like how this guy's got a really long sort of a snout to it and a bit of a bump on its nose. That makes it look a little bit more distinctive than a lot of the other iguanodontids that you might run into, or iguanodontids that cluster around Iguanodon itself. Interestingly enough, though, it seems like this guy is probably more closely related to Oranosaurus, which lived in North Africa at roughly the same time, early Cretaceous as well. So that long snout does suggest that maybe they were doing something a little bit different in terms of feeding strategy, and so that could be an indication of some kind of specialization there. But it's a brand new dinosaur, so we don't know too much about its ecology just yet. So really cool. It's named for the town of Bristol, so this is another geographical name. All right, I'm going to cover these guys at the same time because they were covered in the same paper at the same time, so might as well follow suit. These are called Spinosaurs from the Isle of Wight, and from about the same time, at least the same formation, that Wessex formation as Bristonius, and we'll get at least one more dinosaur from the Isle of Wight in here as well. The kind of grayish one in the background here with just skull elements, that's Ceratosuchops, the horned crocodile face. And so, yeah, enough to tell that it's a Spinosaur. The darker one with bits of the tail in addition to some skull bits, this is Riparivenator. That name refers to riverbank hunter. A riparian zone would be that zone kind of around riverbanks where you might get like a lot of trees kind of growing over it. And since England at that time was kind of more of a Mediterranean environment, looking a lot more like modern Utah. Think about when you go out into the kind of more rural areas of our state. If you see a river, you'll see a whole bunch of trees kind of growing around it, and that's the idea there. And they're suggesting that this guy would have lived around there, but they're so fragmentary. Not much else we can say about them. These are actually pretty good skeletons for Spinosaurs, though. These are a couple of sauropod dinosaurs. The slide for Coelotitan comes later. But Homititan, this is the tail bit that was found in an area where there appears to have been a Homipterus nesting zone. So really cool paleontological site to go to. They were finding mostly pterosaur bones, and then they went back and they started finding bits and pieces of sauropods. This one's kind of unusual. You got the tail. They found a little bit of the sacrum, which is there between the hips, and then they found some neck bones. Now none of that overlaps, so how they know that Coelotitan and Homititan are different? Well, they did a phylogenetic analysis to try and figure out where these guys fit into the sauropod family tree. This guy ended up with the Titanosaurs, and Coelotitan ended up as a sister taxon to Eucolopus. Now, one of the interesting things about this study is that they considered whether these two specimens might belong to the same animal, and they found that didn't change the position for Coelotitan. But what it did do is it kind of made all the other sauropod groups that they included in the analysis just kind of go all generic. Like the computer couldn't figure out how they would be different. And so that's a clue that these two animals don't go together. So that's why they went with their classification as they did. So both of these animals come from, from the early Cretaceous, the Aptian epoch in China. And yeah, that's about all you can really say about these guys so far. Just got to find a lot more of them.